Okay, everybody, we are back talking about respiratory and hand protection. If you've been, seeing our emails, kind of seeing our social media, things like that, you probably know that this is the newest. These are the two newest lines that we begin distribution on in October. Okay, so it started with the suits and getting those right, and now we're going to hand and respiratory protection because again, we get out in the field a lot. We're fortunate enough to have about 800 customers nationwide. And you always see when you are in the field, the issues that pop up. And probably, the two issues that I see the most outside of the suits become good hand protection, maybe what's available and why you would use different types of hand protection and when, and maybe how to control costs as well on these things, right? Higher quality products often actually allow you to save money. And then respiratory wise, we need to get that right? What is handling particulate versus what is handling gases and vapors? It's very simple. So we're going to go through that right now. All right. So the rundown is going to be, we're going to hit the respiratory side first, talking about particulate protection, chemical vapor protection, full vape versus half face respirators, and then goggles, kind of where all of those things come together, right, and depart. And then we're going to talk about hand protection with 4 mil, 9 mil, 15 mil gloves, proper sizing of gloves, and then we'll get back into Pushlock and then answer any questions that everyone has. Okay, so when it comes to respiratory protection, there are really only two filters that you need. Okay, so this is an example right here of a half-face respirator with a P100 cartridge. This is particulate, okay? So if we're just going in to do a mold inspection, we're doing it clean, we're not working with chemicals and things of that nature, this is just fine. If we're working with non-oxidative chemistry, if we're not working around things like, Oxyprep, Oxypar, Deuterion products, things of that nature, this might be just fine as well. But when we get over into anything that is off-gassing of vapor, then we need to look to a multi-gas, multi-vapor cartridge. And fortunately, these are a combo cartridge. They include the P100 as well. So the question would come up like, where do these things diverge? Well, for the most part, the protocol leads the way until you get chemistry that supersedes it, right? So if I'm on a mold remediation and if I was just cleaning that up with something that didn't throw off any vapors, okay, let's think of like botanical, okay? If I was going to remediate with our Thymol-based product botanical, I could do that, and I could get away with P100 cartridges. And you would say, well, why would you, it's a minimum risk pesticide and all those other things. Why would you even go here? It's not because of the product. Now it's because of the protocol. We're dealing in a mold environment where we need particulate protection, okay? Versus we say, okay, we want to bump up the efficiency tremendously and go react extract. Now we've got vapor issues to deal with. So the multi-gas, multi-vapor cartridge, which has the P100 built into it, is where we're going to go to. All right, so what do we get and what don't we get out of the P100, just to kind of go through that? Yes, we get the 99.97 NIOSH P100 efficacy of that filter, but you'll notice at the very top, there is no gas or vapor protection. You have, your hazard types are going to be mold, particulate, silica. Your particle protection is going to be asbestos, mold, and silica. And then industry recommendations, right? You can just read through that. It's just all the general stuff that you might throw out to anybody that comes off of a website. You get over into the vapor cartridge with your P100, and now what are you protected from? Ammonia, chlorine, chlorine dioxide, formaldehydes, hydrogen chlorides, hydrogen fluorides, hydrogen sulfides, methylamine, organic vapors, and sulfur dioxide, right? It's just a broad list of gaseous and or vapor causing chemistries over there, you shouldn't smell anything, right? When you're using a multi-gas, multi-vapor cartridge, you will not smell anything. So it doesn't matter if we're using chlorine dioxide in a tablet form, or we're using it to do a vapor treatment in a whole home or commercial building, and you're subject to hundreds of thousands of parts per million of chlorine dioxide. You won't smell anything so long as you're using the right filter and so long as you fit test it, right? Those are the two things. Me, I'm not qualifying for that, but I don't do this every day. All right. Hazard types: dust, mists, fumes, gases, vapors, combination hazards of mold, organic vapor, silica, etc. And as you would expect, multi-gas, multi-vapor combo cartridge gives you everything. So 2 cartridges, and you're really covered for everything that you're probably going to run into day to day, which is why we're now carrying the 3M line of products, including the respirators themselves. So that brings us to the full face. So we're carrying the 6700 through 6900. Those are just size differences, right? They're kind of a good combination of value, right? They're not too expensive, and they give you, great fit testing. 3M is probably the most proven brand, most accessible brand when it comes to respiratory protection. And then we are doing the half-face respirators. Now, half-face respirators are just fine unless you want to make sure that you're covering the entire face. And where I would cover the entire face is especially anything that is intentionally gas formed. Like I would never do an odor mitigation job with chlorine dioxide, be in an environment that contains maybe 200,000, 400,000 parts per million combined of chlorine dioxide with a half-face respirator and goggles. I'd much rather have that seal around my face just to make sure I'm protecting all my mucous membranes by going with a full-face respirator. And what it begins to point to is that full-face respirators are really probably or should be the most prevalently used respirator system in our industry, just because it gives you that complete coverage and prevents any skin irritation around the eyes, nose, and mouth as well. So when in doubt, defer to your full face respirator, but this can have its applications on the half face side of things. All right, and if you are going to use goggles of any sort, try to get goggles that do protect around the mucous membrane, not just, like these are fine, right? If I'm gonna be just, maybe, pouring chemical into something, they could be fine, but there's always the potential, right, to get splashes up and down, things like that. So if you can go to more of a goggle like these Uvex products, not a huge difference in cost, but you won't get, they'll kind of form a seal around your eye and mucous membrane. Okay, so let's get into hand protection. This is where we go 4, 9, and 15 mil. And at the outset, you go, well, man, the 15 mil are going to be expensive, right? Maybe not, because these are what are called reusables. Okay, so whereas a 4 mil glove, I'll tear through. If I was working with 4 mil gloves, I would tear through those all day long. How many times have you ended up with fingers sticking out of a 4 mil nitrile glove, right? Again, good for keeping your hands clean, but once you start really doing anything, you're going to tear those things up quickly. If you want a glove with durability, like I was using this yesterday on the fire job, right? Not exactly a clean glove at this point in time, yet I can still use this. It's got tactility to it, right? So I can get a grip on things, and it's nice and long, so I can, I'm getting protection there instead of having just a short glove like this. So this, this is going to last me all day. Okay, expect all day protection from a 9 mil glove like this. If I go to a 15 mil glove, now expect to get multiple days out of this glove. So that's where things like the 9 and the 15 can actually be less expensive than the 4 mil gloves. And then you have some additional benefits of these gloves. So let's just look at them real quick, one by one. The Showa 6112 PF that we're carrying is 4 mil powder-free, and it's considered disposable. It's latex-free, water-resistant, and it's also a biodegradable glove. 82% within 386 days. If that's meaningful to you, awesome. 100 per box, and we're going to run in sizes from a 6, which is a small, all the way through an 11, which is a 2X. Okay, and I'll pop up a visual on sizing toward the end of this. All right, then we go over to, okay, this is just some of the areas where this can be used. So, you know, chemical handling, intricate parts handling. One thing that they'll talk about, as we learned about all these gloves from Showa, is that when you need dexterity, it's going to give you the most dexterity, right? It's going to be completely form-fitting. So if dexterity is important, then it might be the right glove in certain situations. The 707D, this is the blue glove here, right? The 9 mil. What you're going to get from this is it's still a disposable. It does have a rolled cuff right here. So that makes it, when you're pulling it down over things like sleeves like this, it makes it easy to get it down over those. It's latex free, and now it's going to be chemical, water, hydrocarbon, and oil resistant. 12 sets come per bag, and it's same size availability. Okay, as you can see here, again, it's going to give you a list of applications, chemical and spray treatments, coating preparation, down through, you know, food and sanitization, you know, things like that. But then we go to the heavy duty glove with the 15 mil, and now we're talking about all the same benefits of it, same count there, but, you know, chemicals, coating preparation, etc. Difference in these is really one of durability. Disposable, right? But all-day use versus multi-use product. All right. So then that brings us to sizing. Okay. So we put sizing charts when these pop up on the website the first of the month. We'll have a downloadable size chart, and it'll be this one right here, because a lot of people, whether it be the suits that we were talking about before, they'll just be like, I just give it, you know, everything to me in a 2X. But, you know, again, when it's right, it brings efficiency when it fits correctly, which means that you're more profitable as a result of knowing how to size these correctly, so that you don't have people swimming in gloves and that sort of thing. So just know that we'll have a sizing chart that's measured based upon your palm width, and we'll give you the right size if you're trying to just, you know, get it fit to your crew or carry several different sizes. This will give you an idea of where that's at. Where we see the bell curve, because I always ask that question when we're dealing with a new supplier. The bell curve is at the very top is your large and extra large, mediums, smalls, etc. on this side, and then your larger sizes are on that side. So if you wanted to err on, you know, the side of what's going to fit most people, it's going to be your larges and your extra larges. All right, so then that brings us back to our push lock. So this time I've put the push lock sleeve on our 15 mil Showa glove, and here I've got our Chemax 1 suit. So the way that this integration works is, as long as you've got that glove on the sleeve already, all you're doing is putting your hand through. You're taking the collar, and you just simply work it down like this, because I think a lot of people will be like, how long is it going to take me to put this together? Is it going to, you know, waste time there? It's a heck of a lot less time, right? I mean, I'm pulling on that, and that's not coming off, okay? So that system now, like if we kind of like retrace our steps of preventing chemical from coming up your sleeves and affecting your wrists, having durable gloves that you don't have to worry about them ripping and tearing, having the right substrate that allows no chemical bleed through, but still lightweight, with a heat sealed seam that won't rip or tear or allow any chemical to pass through it, with a sealed flap that adheres to the other side over your zipper, and a respiratory fit hood, I mean, it's about as good as you could do to keep yourself safe at a reasonable cost. Okay, so that's how we see the entire system going together to really create a well-protected technician. Okay, any questions on that? I think that went a lot faster than normally. I'm really worried. Like, I can talk. So, Grace, any questions over there that I need to answer for the folks in their offices? Any questions? The question is, and I think really James wants to know this, will it keep his fingernails from breaking? It'll keep your fingernails pristine. Yeah. Just use the 15 mil. Any questions over there, Grace? Maybe I should pay attention just in case you text me. Nope, we're good. Okay. So we'll end this session, and we'll see you for the next one at 1 o'clock Central Time, 2 o'clock Eastern. All right.